Hi, I'm Jeff again, here to help you lay out some songs to learn them quickly and be able to put them into worship sets that you're doing. It's something that comes up for a regular basis, and I think at this point I probably have a couple of hundred songs charted out to where I can just pull them up and review the song once or twice, and then we're good to go as far as being able to perform it if we need be. So I'm going to show you the process that I go through to do that. I'm going to use some traditional notation, but you can do whatever works best for you. So if you know that there are faster notes there instead of those are 16th notes, that's fine. Do what works for you. This is just the way that I would write it out, so I'll talk you through some of that now. The song we're using today is called Beautiful One by The Tree. And the big picture is I'm going to outline the song first to try to get an idea of what's going on. So I know that there's an intro in the beginning of this song, so I kind of keep a running tab down the side here of how's this song laid out. If you're doing an exact recording, then that works great. If not, you can change this as you need to go. The intro here in the beginning, there's a total of 8 measures, or 8 times that we'd count to 4 from the very beginning. Here's what the intro sounds like. So after the intro, he goes directly into the very first verse. So I write a V for verse and then verse 1. So in this part, we'll talk about what he is playing here in just a second. So we've got the verse. This is what that sounds like.
Wonderful, so wonderful is your unfailing love. Your cross has spoken mercy over me. No eye has seen, no ear has heard, no heart can fully know how glorious, how beautiful you are.
All right, and after the verse, they jump right into the chorus. So the chorus for the first time, we're playing the chorus only one time through here. Here's what the chorus sounds like.
Beautiful one I love, beautiful one I adore, beautiful one my soul must say.
Great. After the chorus, it goes back into verse. So we're going to verse 2 that you can see on the piece of paper there. And then you already know what the verse kind of sounds like. It sounds the same when you get to verse 2. Then they're going to play another chorus. Then they're going to repeat the chorus. And after they repeat the chorus for 2 times, then they have kind of a guitar solo, musical interlude, you might hear it called, or an instrumental part. The instrumental part would go here. And I know that from counting through it that it's a total of 16 measures from the end of the chorus, so I remind myself that it's 16 measures. Here's what the instrumental part sounds like. All right, and after they finish the instrumental part, it basically cuts out there at the end of the 15th measure on the and of 4. So you hear kind of silence for 1, 2, 3, and 4. I typically would put parentheses around that to show maybe a hit here on the and, but I'll talk more about that in a second. And then from there, it goes directly into the bridge. The bridge, the first time through, we're actually out, so there's no percussion going on there or just extra noises. So here's what the bridge sounds like.
Open my eyes to your wonders new. You captured my heart with this love, 'cause nothing on earth is as beautiful as you. And you open my eyes to your wonders new. You captured my heart with this love, 'cause nothing on earth is as beautiful as you.
And they play a second bridge here as well. So they'll repeat the bridge after the first time, they'll repeat it with the second time, and it adds more percussion. So I kind of remind myself that we're adding more, or that I'm building during this section. We're building the intensity of the music. Once they finish the bridge, there's this 4 beats plus another 4 beats of silence where they're getting ready to do something different, and that basically takes us right back into the chorus, and they're going to repeat the chorus 3 times, and then there's an outro, or the ending of the music, where there's no lyrics being recorded or anything along that line, and this is a 6-measure outro where it ends on beat 1. All right, so as far as the music itself, I have to then go back and figure out, I've got the intro, what does the introduction sound like? How is it that I'm going to represent that? So I would start with what I draw as a quarter note. This is 1 beat worth of music. So we have a beat on beat 1, this is a beat on beat 2 for the snare drum, beat 3 for the bass drum again, and beat 4. So if you had to look this up, you would see that the bass drum's here on the bottom, I put the snare drum here in the middle, and then I put hi-hat at the top here, and I typically do hi-hat with X's. And then also when I'm doing hi-hat, I tell myself what type of style are they playing in, and I put the word grunge for kind of that open, half open hi-hat sound where it's a dirty sound, if you might call it, as opposed to a closed hi-hat sound, which you typically would associate with the verse. So in this scenario, I know this song pretty much repeats this, and you can listen to it. It does that, and I might put 4 times here. This is a standard notation for a repeat sign. So I say, hey, we do this 4 times, and it plays that same pattern. And then on top of that, since this is an 8-measure intro, I know that I'll tell myself to do it times 2. The whole thing is going to be repeated times 2. All right, and then I listen to, all right, what does the verse do? And the verse pretty much stays the same as the intro, except it's a little bit lighter. So I know the bass drum stays on 1, snare drum's on 2, bass drum on 3, snare drum on 4. The hi-hat could be faster notes, 8th notes possibly, or you can play them as quarter notes just like the beginning of the song. But it's going to be closed hi-hat. So I don't have to write hi-hat in there because I just know that that's the hi-hat. As you're going through the piece of music, I also write in where is it that they're doing special things. So I know that there's a bark here where the hi-hat is half open and you play 1 note where it kind of has that sound, and then you go back to normal playing. They do that again pretty regularly throughout the song. And also there's some bass drum notes that change in this. So I might write out, hey, when we get to this part, you have 2 bass drum beats on beat 3 instead of just the 1 that we've been playing. That happens all the way through here with the extra notes. Depending on how detailed you want to get, you can write that out. And then as you're getting ready for the chorus, the hi-hat starts going to that grunge sound and kind of getting more of an open sound. When you get to the chorus pretty much stays the same, but it's a grungier sound. You might consider adding bass drum on every beat in here if you're trying to add more energy, but for the most part, it just keeps repeating that. I might just write grunge over the top of it so that I'm getting that bigger sound. The other option would be if the grunge hi-hat is too much, you might do ride in this section. But the ride cymbal is going to take away a little bit of the energy of the song there overall. And pretty much each time that they're doing the chorus, it comes back to this same pattern for the most part. It goes to the verse. The verse 2 comes in here. It's very similar, so you're back down to the same scenario that you played at the beginning. So I just say see verse 1 to remind me, hey, it's pretty much exactly the same from there. So you've got the general gist of the song laid out already. And after verse 1, you'll see that by your chart you've laid out over there, or after verse 2, it goes to another chorus. So we're going into the chorus. It's pretty much that same sound that happens there. And you'll see that you play all the way through the chorus. You'll hear again that they play the chorus again, so it's repeated. Notice too, where they start putting in cymbals and those types of things, you'll keep hearing that on Beautiful 1, they add a lot of cymbals in there. So I sometimes write an X with a little line that goes across it to just remind me that's where the emphasis is in the music. Okay, and once we get to the end of the second chorus, then there's an instrumental. So I kind of remind myself that there's an instrumental, and then it's kind of still that grunge sound from the chorus. And you'll remember that it's 16 measures long. When I get to the 15th measure, I kind of remind myself sometimes that it's out on and. There's kind of a hit there and an out for 4 beats before it then goes into the bridge. When we get into the bridge, you'll notice that I write first time, and I'll remind myself that I'm out so that I'm not playing there. And then when it comes back around the second time, I might remind myself that it's building. And I wouldn't necessarily go through, in this instance, he plays just the bass drum some in the beginning, and then he adds in the snare drum occasionally, and then he adds in the snare drum again, and then eventually he's doing bass drum and snare drum the whole time. But we have no hat for the most part, and as it builds through here. When you get to the end of the bridge, there's kind of a long pause here where there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, before it goes back to the chorus. And when we go back into the chorus, it's back in big again, just like it has been. We have 3 choruses then, so plays this and repeats it again, repeats the chorus, and then it finishes on an outro. And so there are 6 measures. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4 at the end where there's just music, no words, 6 times, and then there's a big hit on 1 that's kind of just a crash and out. So you notice that there's a part written down here that you may or may not play, and in this example, we took this directly off of the CCLI website as far as chords and whatnot for this song. The tree don't actually do the coda part of it on this recording, so I just remind myself that I'm not playing that at all. So once I've got that laid out, nobody else may understand what's going on, but for me, I know what it is that I'm supposed to be playing throughout the course of the song, and then I'll go through and keep listening to try to learn all the little specifics and whatnot. And then once you've played the song enough and everybody has it down, you can add your own kind of taste and flair to it, or other types of feels. But for the most part, that should lay out a song. That took less than 10 minutes when it's all said and done. Might take longer as you're listening and learning, but for the most part, it shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes to kind of chart out and be able to feel like you can play a new song.